Chapter 10. Forces of Nature. Force. Simple machines. Energy. Force. In our daily lives, most of the actions that we perform involve pushing or pulling something. We already know that when we push or pull anything, we are exerting a force on it. See how force is being used to perform various activities in the pictures below. Force is an external agent capable of changing a body's state of rest or motion. Forces only exist as a result of an interaction. The force can be measured using a spring balance. Effects of force. A force can be used to move a stationary object, stop a moving object, change the speed of a moving object, slow down a moving object, change the direction of a moving object, change the shape and size of an object. Types of forces. There are different types of forces. Muscular force. When we push, pull or lift something, we use our muscles to apply force. This force is called muscular force. We use muscular force to open a door, move a table, write in our notebook and so on. Gravitational force. Every object in the universe attracts the objects near it. This force of attraction is called gravitational force. Have you seen how a ball that is thrown up falls back to the earth? It is because of this force only. We are able to stay on the ground because of gravitational force. Astronauts float in space. They are able to float because there is no gravitational force pulling them down. Frictional force. Have you seen what happens when a toy car is pushed? The car stops after some time. Frictional force acts in the direction opposite to the direction of movement and stops the car after some time. We are able to walk because of frictional force. Smooth surfaces cause less friction than rough surfaces. Elastic force. What happens when you stretch a rubber band and let it go? It gets back to its original length. Elastic force is the force which resists the change in shape in an elastic material when it is stretched or compressed. Stretch. Release. Mechanical force. Mechanical force is a kind of force that causes the object on which it acts to change its motion or start moving. It can also bend or break things. Most simple machines make use of mechanical force. Pulling water from well needs mechanical force. Buoyant force. If we push down a mug or a block of wood floating on water, we feel an upward thrust. The upward push of water on a floating object is called buoyant force or upthrust. This force acts on every object, even when we step into a swimming pool. Simple machines. A mechanical device that make our work easier and faster is known as simple machine. They help us to do work by applying force at a convenient point which either changes the direction of force or increases the force applied. Simple machines have few or no moving parts to modify motion and force. The lever, inclined plane, wheel and axle, pulley and screw are a few examples of simple machines. Let us learn more about these 6 simple machines. Levers. Look at the picture below in which a man is attempting to lift a heavy rock. He pushes one end of the rod under the rock to be lifted. A small stone is kept as a support for the rod, very close to the rock under the rod. On the opposite end of the rod, he applies a downward force. The rock is lifted upwards. Here the rod is a lever. The weight lifted by the person is the load. The point of support or the pivot point of the rod where it touches the small stone is the fulcrum. The force used is the effort. Load. Effort. Fulcrum. A lever is a rigid rod arranged in such a manner that it can move freely around a fixed point. It consists of three parts: fulcrum F, load and effort E. Levers can be classified according to the position of the fulcrum, the load and the effort. When the fulcrum is in between the load and the effort, it is a first-class lever. Examples are scissors, pliers and hammers. When the load is in between the fulcrum and the effort, it is a second-class lever. Examples are bottle opener, nutcracker and wheelbarrow. When the effort is in between the fulcrum and the load, it is a third-class lever. Examples are tweezers, ice tongs and fishing rod. Inclined plane. An inclined plane is a sloping plane used to raise heavy bodies. Inclined planes make it easier to lift objects to greater heights. Walking up a slope is easier than climbing a ladder to the same height. When workers have to load or unload a truck, they use a plank of wood as an inclined plane. In hospitals and some other buildings, inclined planes called ramps are provided next to staircases. This helps in pushing up wheelchairs. A slide is also an inclined plane. A few everyday examples of inclined planes include sidewalk ramps, highway access ramps, inclined conveyor belts and switchback roads. Coolie loads barrel onto a truck using an inclined plane. Screw. An inclined plane wrapped around a shaft is known as a screw. The two primary functions of a screw are to hold things together or to lift objects. The threading around the shaft in a screw makes it an efficient tool to hold things together. The threads grip the surrounding material like teeth, resulting in a secure hold. Shaft. Thread. Pitch. A screw is better than a nail, as when we join things together with a screw, they are held together through a longer distance and thus cannot be forced apart easily. On the other hand, when we join things with a nail, they are held together only for a short distance, that is, through the length of the nail. Cars and other large, heavy things are lifted using bigger screws, called screw jacks. The screws are used in revolving stools, ear studs, chairs and spiral staircase. Activity. Take a piece of paper. Cut out a right-angle triangle out of paper and color the edge opposite to the right angle. That will be the longest side. Wrap the edge around a pencil. The colored inclined edge forms the edges of the screw. It demonstrates that a screw is an inclined plane wrapped around a shaft. Wheel and axle. We know that it is simpler to push a load on wheels than to carry one. However, a wheel by itself is not a simple machine. It becomes one only when a rod or an axle is attached to it. Wheel and axle make work easier by moving objects across distances. The wheel and axle greatly reduce the friction involved in moving an object. The wheel round ends turns with the axle or cylindrical post, causing movement. Wheel and axle arrangements are used in vehicles, sewing machines and cycles. Pulley. Instead of an axle, a wheel could also rotate a rope, cord or belt. The variation of the wheel and axle is the pulley. A pulley is a small wheel with a groove around its outer edge. The groove can hold a rope in position. A pulley together with a chain or a rope is used to lift objects. It is a simple machine that is used to change the direction of the force. When the wheel rotates, the cord can move in either direction. By attaching a hook to the cord, the wheel's rotation can be used to raise or lower objects, making work easier. Wheel and axle. Steering wheel. Bicycle. Sewing machine. Pulley. Instead of an axle, a wheel could also rotate a rope, cord or belt. The variation of the wheel and axle is the pulley. A pulley is a small wheel with a groove around its outer edge. The groove can hold a rope in position. A pulley together with a chain or a rope is used to lift objects. It is a simple machine that is used to change the direction of the force. When the wheel rotates, the cord can move in either direction. By attaching a hook to the cord, the wheel's rotation can be used to raise or lower objects, making work easier. Groove, axle, wheel. There are two types of pulleys, a fixed pulley and a movable pulley. The pulley used for drawing water from a well is a fixed pulley. It is fitted to some support. A rope is passed over the pulley. The bucket is tied to one end of the rope. A downward effort is applied at the other end of the rope and the bucket of water comes up. A fixed pulley makes work easier by changing the direction of force. A pulley system is necessary to hoist a flag. A small pulley is also used on a flagpole to hoist a flag. A rope is attached to the pulley to raise and lower the flag more easily. Movable pulleys along with fixed pulleys are used to lift loads. Wedge. A wedge is a simple machine that is used to break apart substances by applying force. A nail is a common example of a wedge. In a nail, the force is applied to the wide head area. This applied force is concentrated in a small point area where the force is exerted. At this point, the force is magnified and enables the nail to pierce through objects. As the nail sinks into the object, the wedge shape at the point of the nail moves forward and forces the object apart. Some other examples of wedge include knife, axe, saw and shovel. Knife, axe, saw. Energy. We use energy every day. Energy is the ability to do work. Energy is everywhere in nature: sunlight, wind, water, plants and animals. There are many forms of energy. Different forms of energy. Heat energy. Heat is a form of energy. Most of the heat energy we use comes from burning fuels like coal, LPG, kerosene and petrol. In our homes, we use it to cook food. Mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is the energy which is possessed by an object due to its motion or due to its position. It can be either kinetic energy, energy of motion, or potential energy, stored energy of position. The water stored behind a dam has potential energy which gets converted to kinetic energy as water falls from a height. Light energy. Light energy helps us to see things around us. Some sources of light energy are the sun, bulbs, tube lights, and a burning candle. The sun is also a source of light energy. Electrical energy. Electrical energy is the movement of electrical charges. Electrical charges moving through a wire is called electricity. Electrical energy is generated at power stations and supplied to our homes. Most of the appliances that we use these days, like televisions, washing machines, computers, bulbs and fans, run on electricity. Wind energy. Wind energy is plentiful, renewable, widely distributed, clean and non-polluting. Power of the moving air. Wind is utilized with the help of windmills to generate a useful form, such as electrical energy, using wind turbines. Sound energy. Sound is produced when a force causes an object or a substance to vibrate. Some sources of sound energy are portable audio players, music systems, musical instruments like guitar and tabla, and radios. Solar energy. The energy that we get from sun is called solar energy. It is the most readily available source of energy. It is non-polluting as well. It is used to provide heat, light and electricity. Solar panels absorb the energy of the sun to provide heat for cooking. Geothermal energy. The energy that we get from heat within the earth is called geothermal energy. We can use the steam and hot water produced inside the earth to heat buildings or generate electricity. Synopsis. A force can be used to move a stationary object, stop a moving object, make a moving object move faster, slow down a moving object, change the direction of a moving object and change the shape and size of an object. Forces are of different types: muscular, gravitational, frictional, elastic, mechanical and buoyant. Simple machines make our work easy. Simple machines can be grouped under lever, inclined plane, screw, wheel and axle, pulley and wedge. Heat energy, mechanical energy, light energy, electrical energy, wind energy, sound energy, solar energy and geothermal energy are different forms of energy.